Welcome back, season 3 of Serious and Silly, and we're winding down. Scott and Sheila with you. And Sheila, I don't know about you, but how many people do you know are business majors turned DJs, turned weathermen, turned meteorologists?
I know one.
Sheila.
I think we have an amazing guest here that actually falls within those categories, right?
That is right, Sheila. But besides that, he was recently elected into the Vermont Association of Broadcasting Hall of Fame. I don't know what you're doing on April 9th, but I am celebrating Tom Messner Day. It used to be my girlfriend Melanie's birthday, but no longer. It is Tom Messner Day. And you guys know him, of course, after 31 years with the NBC5. He's calling it quits. But before he did, he had one last request. He wanted to appear on Serious and Silly. So here he is today. Tom Messner, welcome to Champlain College.
Well, hello. How are you guys?
Very good.
We are well. It's Friday. We're all having a good time.
That's good. That was quite an introduction. Wow.
Yeah, lots of professionalism on this show. So as I said in the intro, you're a business major turned DJ / program director turned weatherman, weekend weatherman turned chief meteorologist. So tell us how that happened.
When I was going to college out in Ohio, I went to a school called the College of Worcester, and I was majoring in business and ended up getting that degree in business economics. I was invited to take a tour of the campus radio station. So I went over there and I looked around. I said, oh, this is kind of neat. And a guy who turned out to be a good friend of mine says to me, you could do a radio show if you want. I said, radio show? What do you? Yep, you could do it. Here's how you could do it. Here's, he taught me, and I ended up getting a radio show, and then eventually was the program director, and then eventually the general manager of the radio station on campus. So I caught the radio bug. I ended up doing radio in a few different cities, including back in my hometown, which is Rochester, New York. While I was in Rochester, having been the night guy on a top 40 station, it was a great gig. This is back in the 80s. There was a local television station that needed a weekend weather forecaster at the time. And they did something I had never seen done before. They held open auditions.
Oh.
So I went in, auditioned for a job, and they gave it to me, the weekend weather gig. And I went into Channel 8, WROC, and quickly realized I had no idea what I was talking about. So I'm reading the newspaper back in the day, getting a forecast from there. I was watching the Weather Channel, which was actually brand new. And I realized very quickly that if I'm going to do this for a living, I need to get a clue. So I did go from there to a second job and then ended up here on my third job. But I went back to school for meteorology while I was doing those gigs.
Okay. Oh my goodness. That is quite a story. When I in the morning, my first thing that I do, I wake up and I say, hey, Google, what's the weather? And obviously Google is no Tom Messner. Okay. No Tom Messner at all. But Google provides me, the weather. But I never think about like how do you come up with the weather? And obviously there's an educational aspect of it. You went to university and schooling for that, but how does that work? How do you come up with the forecast?
There's a lot of math involved, and I'm not sure, everybody knows that. And what it is it comes down to, a very broad brush here is you're taking a look at what amounts to mathematical equations of what the atmosphere will do.
Oh, wow.
Okay. And back in the day, there was a lot of, handwritten stuff, and you were looking at, data and trying to figure out how these storms will move. But in this day and age, an awful lot of it is done on computers and by computers, and they're inputting information of what the air is doing at certain levels, what's the humidity, what's the temperature, what's the airspeed, all that kind of stuff. And these computers grind up these numbers and then spit out basically an overview of what's going to happen. And the idea is that if you have somebody local, hopefully that person has a better handle on some of the specifics. Like in our market down here, We've got the Adirondack mountain range, and then a valley where Lake Champlain is, then another mountain range. So we're looking at some of the, some of the specifics of this with different altitudes and things like that. And that's what we're doing. So it's kind of a combination of those computer models, of local knowledge, and also history, because you've seen most of this happen before. So the idea is to, identify it again and say, I remember when this storm hit, a few years ago, this is what happened, and this is what we can expect.
Just a follow-up to that, actually, have you seen a major change with climate change and how that it's going to affect the forecast?
Yeah, absolutely. Every 10 years, the National Weather Service down here, they put out what they call their normals, which is actually an average. What's the average high and low and average in between temperature for every day of the year? And they give you a 30-day average is what they're looking at. So every 10 years, it changes. And I noticed that the new one came out last year in 2020, and it was warmer, which wasn't a surprise. You could see that. But there's no question about the fact that the storms are stronger and the rain is heavier. And, the thunderstorms are scarier and they're more intense. So yeah, I don't think there's any question about it.
Yeah. All right, enough of this seriousness, Sheila. Very serious questions. It's time to get the silly. So Tom, obviously you've been on NBC for 31 years. People kind of feel like they know you. So I feel like when you're walking around, people kind of speak to you freely. Have you had any funny or interesting stories, whether it's a prediction gone wrong or, someone just came up to you and said something that kind of made you chuckle?
Well, I think people do stuff like make me laugh a lot. The one thing that's been fun about my job is, I've been forecasting weather, but I've done so many other things and I'm on location a lot. And, I actually get to do a lot of fun stuff. And I think for most people, that's what's become the memorable thing in terms of my career. So a lot of times I'll hear people say, oh man, I saw you at the fair and I can't believe you were talking to a goat, or, which could very well happen. So, but I will tell you this, people generally don't get upset with weather people, I find, if the forecast doesn't go the way it's supposed to go. They're bummed out at the weather person if the weather isn't what they want.
Yes.
So like, I'll go to the grocery store or something and it's like, Jay, thanks for bringing us this rain. And I'm like, man, and it doesn't matter if we told you it was going to rain, because now that it's raining, I'm a stiff. So a lot of times people, they just don't know what to say when they see it. They're like, oh, and they say something and then they're like, oh, I didn't mean that. And it's kind of funny.
Breaking news, Sheila. Tom Messner controls the weather.
Oh,
that's right.
Man of many talents.
Anytime you need some good weather, you just call Tom. He'll get you a sunny day.
That's right. Like I'll have people, drop me an email and say, hey, I'm getting married on June 28th. Can you make sure it's sunny that day? They actually do that. Now, I think they're kidding, but I'm not sure.
That is adorable. Mr. Messner, actually, you did say that you're out of the studio and you go on location quite a bit. And one of the locations that you were on was when Hurricane Katrina was taking place, correct?
Yes. We were, well, actually, Katrina, no, we were not there, but there was the year, I want to say it was the year before Katrina, where there were a pile of hurricanes down in Florida, and we did chase down one called Hurricane Francis.
Wow.
And we started as a company, to be honest with you, to take a second look at how smart it was to go chasing down hurricanes, given what happened with Katrina. And we said, this may be a little more dangerous than we thought. So the timing for me was good because everything went just fine when we were down in Florida with Francis. But when Katrina happened, we started to second, like I said, we took another look and said,
because that was my question, because we do see individuals like on site where there's like hail and rain just like whipping them in the face, and winds like exceeding so much speed. And we wanted to know, like, did did you sign up for this part of the job when when you went on this career path? Like,
Well, not really. I was thrilled to be able to do it. We had done a series back in the early to mid 2000s where I went to a bunch of different places. And the company that owns WPTZ, NBC5, has TV stations all over the United States. So what they were doing was they would send me to TV stations that, specific weather would happen. So in Florida, we went down and met up with the Orlando station,
mhm.
and we went out near Daytona Beach. It was actually Cocoa Beach to go see, to wait for Hurricane Francis to come in.
Wow.
Then we went down to Oklahoma at one time, and we were chasing tornadoes there.
Oh my gosh.
Because that's where, that's where the nasty weather within our company happens. So it was a great opportunity to be able to do that.
Mm.
And, again, we are a little more careful with that now, but the tornado thing, it's really, I think it is important to be out there and tell everybody where they are.
Mhm.
These guys are really good at what they do. They know how to get out of the way. They know what side of the storm to be on.
Mhm.
Hurricanes sometimes are a little bit different. I'll be honest with you. I think sometimes, they're showboating. Well, they are, they're standing out in the wind and the rain and
Yeah.
they're getting pelted by all this stuff and it's nasty. And then as soon as the camera goes off, they go undercover and it's like, I don't know, guys.
Yeah.
You often feel it's the rookie meteorologist who gets that assignment.
Well, a lot of times they send the main person because they think it's great for ratings.
Mm.
Yeah, which is a thing in TV.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Which is interesting because from what I was reading, the weather is always the highest rated segment of a newscast.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, and that's been the case for a long time. I think the long and the short of that is rarely, I was going to say rarely does news affect everybody. Of course, it happens sometimes, some of these stories on a national level. But, story to story, oh, there was an accident over here and somebody got murdered over there.
Mm-hmm.
With weather, it does literally affect everybody every day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, for sure. And
So-
yeah, go ahead, Scotty.
Go ahead, Sheila.
No, I was going to ask you, you are retiring after, a successful career. And I wanted to know, what's the next step for you? Are you just going to now just relax finally and just take it easy? Or what is the next part of your journey?
Well, I don't know yet. I'm not going to just relax. I can't do that. I really want to get back to my business roots, to be honest with you. I have been involved with some startup companies in Burlington, in and around Vermont, and I've been doing investments, but also helping out a little bit, but contractually, I can't really do much.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing I'm going to do. So I will end up doing some business stuff. I'm going to work with my wife, who is an author, and she's very prolific. She's got more than 50 books out.
Wow.
And she's a children's author.
Oh.
And she's so busy now, she needs some help business-wise. So I'm going to do that. And also, I may end up doing just a couple of things throughout the year with the TV station. It won't be weather related, but some like ambassador.
Okay. Nice.
So I'm still going to be around.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, I can't do nothing just yet.
Mm-mm.
So I think you're just as popular in Montreal as you are in Plattsburg and Burlington. Everyone at the college seems to know you and, just remember you. And I also read that you come to the Grand Prix and you visit Montreal often. So I was just wondering if you had any memories or places that you like to visit when you're here.
A lot of places we like to visit. We love to go up there and eat. The food is just, off the charts, fantastic. We had a couple of adventures when I think back of really fun times. We were up there, not at the game, but I was there when they won the cup in '93.
Mm.
So that was super exciting. We were in a sports bar watching.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that was quite a scene. That was pretty memorable. And I'll tell you what else was great is we went up when Jacques Villeneuve won the Formula One championship, and that was in Japan. So it was on at night, in Montreal, and we thought, well, you know, we've got to go to Montreal for this. And that was excellent too. So, you know, we've had just as examples. We were on Crescent Street one year for New Year's Eve. Wow. That was something. That was a lot of fun. So, you know, we go to Place des Arts for plays and stuff like that. And we go up for ice shows, went to a lot of Canadians games, all that's good stuff.
Oh my gosh. I feel like you've done more things in Montreal than I have. So that's very nice. I got to get up more.
Isn't that always the case though?
Yeah, you're right.
You know, when you live here, you don't do this stuff. It's really a funny setup down here because I live on Lake Champlain, just south of Plattsburg. Plattsburg is a tiny little town, as you guys know, 20,000 people. But Montreal is like 62 miles up the road.
Mm-hmm.
So it's amazing to live here. You can live the lake life, the Adirondacks. You know, I usually have a ski pass at Whiteface Mountain, so it's about a 45-minute drive. And then there's this world-class city right up the road. It's a really unique place to live, and there's everything you want within about an hour or an hour and change in all directions here, which has made, you know, living here and just a great, you know, great place for my kids to grow up.
Oh, that's great. We have, speaking because it's so close, Scotty, when he was in his teens, you're going to see the story. Sorry, Scotty, say the story.
Okay, go ahead.
So he just went with one night of debauchery, I guess, with his friends. They ended up walking from Montreal to Plattsburg.
No.
Walked, yeah.
What?
The way, yeah.
Yeah, this was before 9/11, before the border tightened up, and yeah, we decided to walk to Plattsburg, to my parents' country place. Took about 36 hours, and the border guard just laughed at us.
Did they say laugh and just go?
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
And pretty much nobody gave us any attention until we were about 5 miles away in Ellenburg, and someone with about 5 miles to go said, "Do you guys need a lift?"
Did you cave at that point?
No, we did not cave at that point. If she would have come 10 miles earlier, there would have probably been a cave, but
You did it, Scotty. Very
that's
impressive.
my Plattsburgh story.
Wow, I have never heard of anybody doing that. That's impressive.
Yeah, I don't know. Impressive definitely isn't the word I would use for that.
That's one that's a good story though.
Mr. Messner, we do really want to say thank you for you joining us today. You're just such a light, and your smile brightens up like this little virtual reality that we're facing right now. So we really do want to say thank you so much for joining us on our conversation today. And if our community would like to keep following our little web series, we post on Fridays on our Champlain Saint-Lambert YouTube page. But again, just thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure. And thanks so much to everybody for all the support that the TV station and I personally have had up there over years. They've been nothing but inviting and super nice. And I really, really appreciate that. And my wife and I are going to continue to go up there. So hopefully we see you around.
Oh, that would be amazing. Yes. Well, have a great day. And,
thank you so much.
And take care.
You too.
Thank you.